What's going on? This is David from Pier with another Zeitgeist game review. Today we're playing Star Wars Outlaws from Ubisoft. Let's get into it. Star Wars Outlaws is the latest game from the Star Wars universe, featuring an original story set between episodes 5 and 6. We play as Kay Vess, a small-time thief plunged headfirst into the galaxy's criminal underworld after a job gone wrong. What follows is a basic heist plot. A ragtag crew comes together for one last job full of twists and turns to make sure nothing goes as planned. Heist stories are fun. They're popular for a reason, and there's plenty of room to explore just about every genre in the Star Wars universe, but this narrative felt short, unsatisfying, and took far too long to really connect to the rest of the world. I kept waiting for the moment where the story clicked with the rest of the universe, but besides one or two moments and a few half-hearted cameos, it never really happened. For the most part, this game would have been exactly the same if you reskinned all the Star Wars elements with generic sci-fi stuff, and that really shouldn't be the case. When it comes to gameplay, Outlaws feels like it's barely scratching the surface of what's possible. The familiar stealth and shooter mechanics are made slightly unique by Kay's alien companion, Nix, who can do small tasks like distracting enemies and picking up items, which is somehow easier to do without Nix's help, but that's about it. There are weapon upgrades and new abilities to unlock, but nothing feels substantial, especially when it comes to Nix. I waited the whole game to be able to use him to distract multiple enemies at a time, which seemed like a natural progression, but it never happened. Both as a character and a mechanic, Nix is severely underused. But you know what you can do with Nix? A 5-minute long QuickTime event where you eat a meal for minor upgrades. This game is great. Outlaws also features a seriously lacking faction system. Most of the missions you get are jobs for one of 4 factions, which are supposed to make you choose which factions to get close to and which ones to turn against. But it doesn't take much work to get on all the factions' good sides, which feels wrong. It's just too simple. Compare this to the Nemesis system from Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor 10 years ago, where interactions with enemies genuinely changed things like the rankings of orc armies and outcomes of events. Something along those lines, something with nuance and actually challenging decisions, would make the faction system in Outlaws actually feel like there are some stakes and a reason to get invested. Unfortunately, it seems like games have only gotten less complex in the past decade. Also, Wordle is in this game. You know, the online daily word puzzle. Just straight up Wordle, but with Star Wars symbols. I won't say if that's good or bad, but I think it speaks to the level of originality the developers brought to the table. Outlaws feels unfinished. I was particularly distracted by characters in cutscenes who always look like Muppets, flapping their jaws and not moving their eyes. There's also some writing issues. We're supposed to like Kay, but she has zero chemistry with any of the characters around her, which is pretty important in a heist story. Except for Nix, but he can't talk, so that's cheating. Kay is also oddly written for someone who's supposed to be an underworld pro. She has this exaggerated mask of bravado, but always speaks and acts with zero confidence in high-pressure situations, but also always gets through situations she shouldn't be able to. Is she supposed to be good at her job or not? I don't know, and neither does Ubisoft. Credit where credit is due. Outlaws has a very lived-in world with hub areas that actually feel alive with NPCs. It's like a current-gen open world in a last-gen game. At the same time, beyond the visuals, there's not enough Star Wars going on. I know this game is about the underworld, but there aren't any Jedi. Seriously, not even one lightsaber. That's like one of the main things that makes Star Wars Star Wars. I know fans want to branch out from the Jedi stuff, but how about one mission where Kay finds a lightsaber, has no clue what it is, uses it to get out of a scrape, and then sells it without really knowing its worth? This game left me disappointed. There are so many good Star Wars games, but this isn't one of them. This game could have been great, but it's just so basic. There's a lot of potential here, and maybe that's the problem, seeing as so much of the experience is being saved for paid DLC. That's why Star Wars Outlaws only gets a 2 out of 5. If you played Star Wars Outlaws, what did you think? What game should I play next? Let me know with a comment down below. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe for a new review every month.